President Moon Jae-in convened the second finance and budget strategy meeting since the launch of his administration today at the nation's top office. The Liberal leader called for an all-out effort to overcome existing economic hurdles, but also to respond to the ever-changing economic paradigm, especially as inter-Korean relations improve. Our Cheongwon correspondent Hwang Hojun has this report.
More than 80 government officials attended the Finance and Budget Strategy meeting on Thursday, chaired by President Moon Jae-in himself, to discuss the government's fiscal policy over the next 5 years. President Moon praised the changes that have come about since the launch of his administration, noting that the average income of all households rose 3.7% on year in the first quarter, while the local economy expanded 1.1% over the same period. He said international organizations, including the IMF, have also expressed their appreciation of the Korean government's active fiscal management to improve the economy.
그러나 아직 국민들께서 경제적인 삶이 좋아지고 있다고 체감하기에는 미흡한 부분이 많습니다.
He noted that the household income gap between the top 20% and the lower 20% bracket has gotten worse, as have structural difficulties such as the nation's record low birth rate and the rapidly aging population. To tackle those issues, President Moon called for the government to further boost the three pillars of the nation's economic policies: income-led growth, innovative growth, and fair economy. He stressed that while income-led growth and fair competition are ways to make growth more inclusive and fair, the foundation for an expanding economy comes from innovation. Therefore, he called for tangible actions such as the reform of existing regulations.
성장의 동력을 만드는 데 있어서는 혁신 성장이 가장 중요합니다. 따라서 소득주도 성장과 혁신 성장은 함께 가야 하는 것이지 결코 선택의 문제가 아닙니다.
But the highlight of the president's message was when he said the nation's economy is bound to undergo a paradigm shift once inter-Korean relations and North Korea-U.S. relations improve, once lasting peace is settled on the Korean peninsula through denuclearization.
남북 경제 협력이 본격화될 경우를 대비해 한반도 신경제 지도를 뒷받침하기 위한 재정의 역할과 준비에 대해서도 미리 검토할 필요가 있겠습니다.
Responding to critics that the administration's minimum wage hike is one factor that drove the economic polarization of the country, President Moon, while acknowledging it may have become more difficult for those in the lower income bracket to find jobs, and if so, it needs to be addressed, insisted that it's too early to attribute the income decline of the bottom 20% to any specific factor. Hwang Hojun, Arirang News.